Hi, and welcome to the Shai Show, jumping into Parsha like stuff that mattered to me this week. Shabbos HaGadol. This week is the great Shabbos. Shabbos is already so great. How could it possibly be any greater? And yet this Shabbos is the great Shabbos. See, about 3,000 years ago, when we were in Mitzrayim, the land of egg wiped, over there by
Egypt.
Egypt. Thank you. And while we were in Egypt, we were slaves and we were abused. We were beaten, but beaten in a serious way. So much so that the kind of real abuse of slavery and these people who struck fear into our hearts for being so cruel and so abusive, that we, on this Shabbos, stood up and said, and it's time to do the right thing. We're going to go out into the desert. We're going to worship Hashem. And we're also going to slaughter that thing that sheep you worship as part of the service. And they did this. Well, they made the announcement on this at this time that they were going to do this. They revealed their intentions. The standing up. So I guess you learn out from that. You can stand up to someone on Shabbos. So that's amazing. And part of what's also brought down about how the Shabbos is so great is that this is the beginning of the redemption, the actual redemption. That could be a little bit hard to understand, because I might have thought the beginning of the redemption, that this is any more redemption than the plagues that occurred. You see, this happened right before the 10th plague. 9 plagues had already occurred. So I might have thought maybe the time of the first plague was the real beginning of the redemption. Or maybe the 6 months earlier on the Rosh Hashanah that preceded Pesach, Passover, and this Shabbos, that was the beginning, because that's when the actual slavery had ended. So I would have thought that's when the redemption began. Yet this is the Shabbos HaGadol. Something about this standing up led to it. So a deeper answer. Let's go a little bit deeper. And a deeper answer might. Are you with me? Are you with me? A deeper answer might be that what had happened.
He's tasting.
that what happened was that what also led me immediately up to this is it was announced there was going to be a 10th plague. There was going to be a slaying of the firstborn. And you might imagine that didn't go over very well amongst the Egyptians, considering the last 9 times there was an announcement, it happened. And the 10th time, slaying of the firstborn were not looking forward to being slayed. So there was a rebellion. And all the firstborns of Egypt turned in on those that were not interested in letting the Jews go. And for the first time, part of that rebellion that the firstborn were involved with is that they said, get these Jews out of here. And the wheels of redemption were going, because for the first time they were saying, it's time to let the Jews go for real this time, that they should actually leave. Not just the stopping at the slavery, but the actual let my people go away.
But they didn't listen to that?
There was the first time that we saw that it was a change, exactly that it was a real change, that they were seemingly, even for their own purposes, their own selfish purposes, so they shouldn't be slayed, they still seem to be, I guess, on our side in the sense of actually helping us accomplish what we need to be doing by leaving and going to perform this service. And it came, not coincidentally, that when the Jews stood up to do what was right, and when the Jews stood up to do what was right, it's seeming as though that the nature itself and the nature of these Egyptians who are so Egyptians, actually, it's not Egyptians, but it's Egyptian. Okay, the Egyptians themselves seem to be bending to the nature of what was needed to be done, to let us go, to let us serve. Okay, great. So that's fantastic. But why Shabbos? Meaning, this all occurred about 3,000 years ago on the 10th of Nisan. So I would have thought, great, let's commemorate this like we do all the other holidays on the 10th of Nisan. But lo and behold, it's on the Shabbos. So the Magen Avraham, one of our sages, Magen Avraham, teaches us that the reason it's not going to be on the 10th of Nisan because there was a time in the future when Miriam, the sister of Moshe and Aaron, Miriam, that she would be nifter, she would pass away on the 10th of Nisan, and there should be an opportunity for people to mourn, meaning not to declare a holiday, not to declare a simcha, positive, happy holiday on a day in which is going to be designated for those who wish to connect to the mourning the loss of Miriam and all that she contributed to us. And that anyway, that if the 10th of Nisan should happen to fall out on Shabbos, when we can't mourn on Shabbos, we can't fast on Shabbos anyway. So let's so now that the access to this type of mourning and fasting is not available to us, so therefore it's okay to make it on the Shabbos. So when the 10th of Nisan happens to fall out, but as long as we keep making it on the Shabbos, it'll never actually interfere with those who want to connect to the mourning aspect of Miriam. But everything in Torah, as we know, is very precise, and this is a very good answer. But I think we can go to maybe a deeper reference, a deeper reference to what this is about. So Shabbos, as you know, it's one of the 10 Commandments.
Yes, I know.
And it's actually mentioned twice in two different places. So it's mentioned in Vayikra in remembrance of the Exodus, and it's mentioned in Exodus in remembrance of Bereshis. Let me say that again. It's mentioned twice. It's in two different places. It's in the book of Vayikra and it's in the book of Exodus. One of the times it underscores when it's mentioning it in a concept of remembering the creation, and another place it underscores the remembrance of Egypt. So if we understand that Shabbos is the apex, the pinnacle, the highest of the high of creation, when everything comes together, maybe we can understand that there's something about Shabbos that's pretty precise, not only the remembrance of the Exodus, but something very basic to what occurred at this point in the beginning of redemption. So we're saying that what Shabbos is in itself always has a piece of redemption in it. That Shabbos is so great and so wonderful that the peace of mind that comes with it by ceasing from work, it seems to be the first time that we can really connect to what's going on around us. And the first, major step to really being removed from slavery is the ability not to text and not be on the computer and not constantly be on the phone, but actually have the peace of mind and the potential in order to think.
And with our families.
And to be with their families, and all of the above. I guess this portion I'm underscoring that the ability to think and to not be involved in work is a prerequisite and the beginning of a real redemption, because it allows us to be aware of what we're committing to. Of what we're, of the things in our life that we're honest about, the things in our life that maybe we have an opportunity to reaffirm that which is important, whether, like you're saying, family. Here it's also recognition of reflecting back to the Exodus and recognizing that we had a specific time that we did something because it was the right thing to do, and in noticing that when we let our light shine forth and stood up for the best we could with courage. If you want something deeply enough, and it's brought to you, or you're brought to it, but in this case, I guess I'm hoping to underline the idea of how things seem to fall into place the more we do it, and do it in a way that we really believe it's possible, that believe it's going to happen, that believe that it's really the right thing to do, with a certain peace of mind, a certain level of doing it without worry. And the Shabbos, with this break, it can allow us to experience the breaking of any of these limitations. And Shabbos itself is that which is above the actual creation, because all the acts of work, the acts of creation are stopped. The limitations that were made by nature are part and parcel, are capable of being broken, as this itself was, the first Shabbos was something after. So it was something after. It was something after the creation. Now that we have this opportunity to focus on this type of spiritual growth, let us choose one thing, something that we could do, something that will make a difference, and this opportunity that can connect us to redemption. I think like one little thing, for example, that hopefully we're gonna have lots of matzah over this Pesach. So maybe when we're just saying the bracha, the hamotzi lechem min haaretz, over the matzah, just to stop and think and appreciate this one line, appreciation, and to take on, just for Pesach, not forever, not something that's going to be who knows what's going to be. But for starting the Shabbos and for the 8 days of Pesach, just 8 days to take on, just this, when you say the blessing over the bread, the Hamotzi Lechem Haaretz, to really be thankful that we're free and that we have sustenance and we have food and hope, hopefully with family, and if not with the food, and to take in how much goodness. So please, for this last Shabbos HaGadol, please remember to enjoy your challah, and please also remember to enjoy your matzah and possibly say this one bracha, and let us really appreciate this opportunity for an 8-day commitment that will make a difference. I promise. See you next week. If you have any questions or comments, please leave it in the space below. Please remember to click the subscribe button so you can get an email for the next Parsha /holiday video. Have a great Shabbos, and I'll see you next week.